Lee DeForest, who lived from 1873 to 1961, was born in Council Bluffs, Iowa, but grew up in Talladega, Alabama, where he moved with his parents when he was 6. He was the son of a minister who served as the president of Talladega College, an all African American school. His mother was a descendant from John Alden, who came to the United States in the Mayflower. DeForest showed an interest in science at a young age, and at the age of 26, he was the first person to write a PhD on electromagnetic waves. The title of the PhD dissertation he wrote for Yale was, quote, Reflections of Hertzian Waves from the Ends of Parallel Wires. After graduation, he got a job with Western Electric in Chicago, working in their dynamo factory. Western Electric was a subsidiary of AT&T and served as the primary supplier and purchasing agent for Bell System. After graduating from Yale, DeForest began working on wireless telegraphy, which had earlier been introduced by Marconi. He searched for a better detector or receiver and patented a device called a responder. It was faster than the Marconi coherer. Western Electric caught word of DeForest's experiments and allowed him to use their laboratory to continue his work on responders, but in a letter dated March 18, 1900, DeForest said his bosses were getting fed up with him because he was primarily occupied with working on a responder rather than telephone devices. Quote, Experiments on my new wireless responder, as I called it, began to occupy more and more of my time, DeForest wrote. My work on telephone tests and devices was never brilliant, to speak charitably, for my thoughts were ever elsewhere. Dean became progressively more impatient with my work, but was too considerate to fire me. Then his superior at Western Electric, Dean, sent a termination letter to DeForest saying, quote, Look here, DeForest, you will never make a telephone engineer. As far as I am concerned, you can go to hell in your own way. Do as you damn please. Then around 1902, DeForest began the wireless telegraph company with Abe White, a sketchy stock promoter from Wall Street. Abe White was Wireless Telegraph Company's president, and DeForest was its scientific director. The company soon filed for bankruptcy and was taken by Marconi interests. The reasons? Reginald Fessenden sued DeForest for stealing the design of his liquid barretter, which DeForest made a variation of and called a spade detector. DeForest got the idea for the barretter after a casual visit to Fessenden's lab in 1903. After 3 court appearances, Fessenden received an injunction against DeForest for patent infringement. In 1906, DeForest resigned from the company after White released falsified stories exaggerating the success of the company's products to the media in an attempt to influence the price of the company's stock. After his company fell apart, DeForest shifted his focus from wireless telegraphy to voice transmission. In 1907, he patented the Audion, his greatest achievement. The Audion was essentially a vacuum tube device that could take a weak electrical signal and amplify it into a larger one. Lee DeForest's Audion was essentially the same device invented by English physicist John Ambrose Fleming in 1904. DeForest just added a zigzag control wire in the bulb of Fleming's thermionic diode, otherwise known as the Fleming valve. Also in 1907, DeForest made experimental voice broadcasts to the public in New York City, and in 1910, he broadcast a live operatic performance by Enrico Caruso. However, eventually, more legal battles ensued for DeForest. His second firm, the DeForest Radio Telephone Company, was charged with mail fraud in 1912 for, quote, promoting a useless device, the Audion, which ironically was one of the most important radio inventions to date. After his latest business debacle, DeForest sold his patent for the Audion to American Telephone and Telegraph for $50,000, only to learn that the company had earmarked 10 times that amount should it become necessary to close the deal. Then he invented the phonofilm, a device that optically recorded sound on film, the precursor to modern movies. However, his phonofilm failed to impress film producers of the day because DeForest was unable to achieve high-quality sound. Despite all his patent infringements, Lee DeForest declared himself the greatest inventor in radio history. On January 1st, 1950, when Lee DeForest was 77 years old, he released his autobiography called Father of Radio, the autobiography of Lee DeForest. If you found that interesting, please like, follow, comment, and subscribe. It really helps support my work.